How's it going, all you vandals? This is Johnny Alpha, wanting to welcome you back to Graphic Vandalism. And I really have to tell you, I am so happy how much you all seem to like and enjoy my 10 graphic novels video, so I decided to make a follow-up. So, here are 10 more books that are all just amazing and have really impressed me, and just like the first video, this list will not be a countdown, but I have arranged the books in a way to show the sheer variety of the list, so let's just get into it. First up, we have the very awesome and fun Ballistic, written by Adam Egypt Mortimer with just insane and killer art by the one and only Derek Robertson, published by Black Mask Studio. Now, this book is an epic mix-up of all the styles I love: sci-fi, fantasy, body horror, buddy comedy, and tons of action. And Ballistic tells the story of the future's most deadly assassin and how she becomes a biological living handgun, and also how she turned one doofus air conditioner repairman into a total badass criminal legend. And Ballistic was one of the first Black Mask books I ever read, and it's what has helped make me such a huge fan of the label. And next up, we have the heartwarming masterpiece Essex County, wonderfully written and drawn by Jeff Lemire, and published by Top Shelf Books. This book very emotionally chronicles the lives of three generations of an estranged Canadian family and how they learn to forgive and love each other again with the help of one nosy nurse. Now, I was already a huge fan of Lemire's work when I read this, but this is the book that just showed me that Jeff is a very special talent with something very real and meaningful to say. And I usually don't make it a habit of getting choked up while reading comics, but this book had me teared up like a teen girl watching The Notebook. That is how wonderful and powerful this comic really is. All right then, now let's set our sights on the very excellent and brutal Nightly News. Written and drawn by the very amazing Jonathan Hickman and published by Image Comics. Now, the Nightly News is the book that put Hickman's name on the map, and since reading it back in like '07, I have been like a huge Hickman fanboy. And the story for this very dark tale is about a group of people whose lives were ruined by news stations running stories on them without checking their facts first. So, they make a plan and decide to assassinate these reporters, to bring on a day of reckoning and make news organizations accountable for their actions. So, needless to say, fake news is nothing new, and Hickman in this book were talking about it a full decade before the rest of the world caught on. Alright, let's switch the gears a little and hop on over to Oink, Heaven's Butcher, with stunning yet bleak writing and art by John Mueller, originally published by Kitchen Sink Press, but has been reissued by Dark Horse Comics. And Oink is a very sacrilegious and brutal revenge story that really hits a lot of the same emotions and themes of the original Crow graphic novel, but it does it in its own way with its own very blasphemous style. On a side note, the art I used in this video is from the original Kitchen Sink release. The new Dark Horse version has been completely redrawn and it is just stunning. It is a must-have for fans of 90s nihilistic horror comics. Cool, cool. And up next, let's take a peek at Revolver, masterfully written and drawn by Matt Kindt and published by Vertigo Comics. And Revolver tells the story of a man caught between two different realities. In one, he is a casual office worker, and in the other, he is a warrior in a world gone mad with terror. And as this revolving cycle continues, he learns to discover things in the horrific world that he can use to stop the tragedy and save his normal world. And this story really plays up its psychological drama perfectly. As the strain of living in the two realities really wears on our main lead, it just really helps make this book just be that much more impactful. Now, Matt Kindt has really become one of my favorite writers, and this is the book that first showed me his true greatness. Okay, how about some Euro comic greatness? Next up is Nadja, written by Jean-David Morvan with fluid action-packed art by Bengal and published in the United States by Magnetic Press. Now, this is a comic that takes Hitman stories and flips them all on their heads, as this book has all the action and globe-trotting one would expect from an assassin story, but it also has the plot twists and character arcs that one would expect from the most twisted and insane Korean revenge films. And the story for this one is all about a contract killer, Nadja, who is incapable of feeling pain or anything she just does not feel. And when some unknown power make her life and her job into a sick game, we get amazing and a disturbing look at what made Nadja the killing machine that she now is. Morvan and Bengal are an unstoppable force when they team up, and this book is beyond proof of that. And next up is an underrated indie gem that has become very special to me recently. Therefore Repent, written by Jim Monroe with beautiful moody art by Sal Good Sam, published by IDW. And this very odd pseudo-religious fantasy adventure takes a whole new spin on the idea of end-of-the-world storytelling. Set in a post-rapture Chicago, this story is about the world and the people left behind. As new schisms in society are formed, magic returns to the earth. But like always, it comes at a cost. And we see all these sights and events through the eyes of a young couple, transformed by this magic as they get ready for the fight that is to come. And this book is just truly epic, and it is told in a way that one can make up their own mind what it all means. I always just love to find a book like this. All right then, let's keep it cruising to Supermarket, written by the always awesome Brian Wood with wonderful vibrant art by Kristen Donaldson, published by IDW. And with Supermarket, Wood and Donaldson tell a tale that reads like what we'd get if Edgar Wright and Sion Sono teamed up to make a wild teen Japanese adventure movie. And Supermarket is the story of Pella, a young, snotty, but badass young woman that must take on the Yakuza and European crime syndicates in Japan to avenge the murder of her parents. And with a bit of help, this book is just a wild and fun blast. And I really have to say, being a huge Brian Wood fan, I always love when he takes a break from his big political books to tell a mad fun story like this. Okay then, are you guys ready for some futuristic noir action? Alright, up next we have The Last Days of American Crime, written by Rick Remender with always epic art by Greg Tuccini. Originally published by Radical Books, but has been reissued by Image Comics. And this very hypercharged heist story is all about an old-timer who teams up with some hot-headed youngsters for one last heist before all money goes digital. And this book has some of the best twists and double crosses I have ever read, and it is the book where I first learned to love Rick Remender's writing. Remender and Tuccini always make such a wonderful team, and this book is one of the main reasons I knew I'd just love their new series, Low. Alright, last but surely not least, let's take a look at one of my favorite books ever written, Heavy Liquid, written and drawn by one of comic books' true gods himself, Paul Pope, and published by Vertigo Comics. Now, just imagine if Terry Gilliam, Federico Fellini, and Jim Jarmusch all teamed up to tell a futuristic, surreal drug heist movie in the vein of Blade Runner meets Trainspotting, and you might just have a decent idea of what to expect from Heavy Liquid. And Heavy Liquid is all about a guy called S, or as he's better known as, the Stooge. He and his friends develop a new drug and become the targets of their rivals and the government, who all want the drug for themselves. And just let me tell you, it is one wild ride that you really do not want to miss out on. And every one of Paul Pope's works have been a huge hit with me, but in my opinion, Heavy Liquid is his true masterpiece swan song. Well, there you go, Vandals. 10 more amazing, earth-shaking graphic novels. And if I missed your favorite, please let me know in the comments because I love recommendations. But for now, until next time, this is Johnny Alpha from Graphic Vandalism saying, don't stop reading.